Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I cover nostalgic, obscure, or otherwise strange content. I've had a pretty rough day. I think I look like I've had a pretty rough day. And I'm pretty obsessed with The Wizard of Oz. I'm on a big Wizard of Oz kick. I just saw Wicked for Good the night that it premiered. I enjoyed the movie. It's not as, brilliant, I don't think, as the first one, but it was never going to be if you know anything about the source material of Wicked. That second act gets rough. And I think that they did a good job improving it where they could, and they really tried their best to make it more succinct. And it was still, I think, a very enjoyable film. My prediction from the get-go when I first saw it was like, anyone who knows about the stage show, is a fan of the stage show, is going to be able to look at that and go, wow, they really improved on the source material. That was a solid movie. And I think anybody who has only seen the first Wicked movie and that's what they're expecting is going to be very disappointed. And so far, I've been right across the board. But I've also just been thinking about, the Wizard of Oz IP in general because, well, it's 100 years old. A lot of the adaptations from the original book to the original movie to Wicked, a lot of the time the Wizard of Oz kind of stands for, fighting against oppression of some kind. Wicked is more overt with the way that they do it. But when I think of the Wizard of Oz in general, I think about what it means to so many people. But I also think about the amount of suffering that allegedly went on behind the scenes. People have been seeing all those, weird interviews with Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, and speculating about their health, their mental health, their physical health, which I typically don't like to speculate on those kind of things, but some of those interviews are concerning to me.
In what ways the person sitting next to you changed you for good?
Oh,
You
man.
are very good. You are very good.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, yeah.
That's not what this video is about, though. I had seen people talking about how, maybe something bad happened on the set of Wicked and, speculating that the Wizard of Oz curse had continued because, they say every version of the Wizard of Oz that's been made has been something that the cast and crew kind of had to suffer through, and it goes all the way back to how horrifically everybody was treated on the set of the original Wizard of Oz. That's not a surprise or a secret. Everybody knows that. I did a podcast episode a couple years ago that you can find here on this channel where I talked about the Wizard of Oz and the making of and how badly it went for everyone. But what I didn't know was that there was a full-on documentary made in 1989 that was hosted by Angela Lansbury, icon. And when I found out that this existed, I really wanted to watch it, and I wanted to show you guys, so I kind of stopped myself from watching past the first couple of minutes, and I just figured I would sit here and kind of watch it through with you guys. I've also got a couple of pretty big long-form videos coming up, and it's nice every once in a while to break that stuff up with just chill videos, so here we go.
Many, many miles east of nowhere lies the amazing land of Oz, a magnificent empire created in the mind of a man who wrote a great book about it.
L. Frank Baum would be so probably confused. He probably, the original Wizard of Oz is a classic and a great movie in so many ways, but it is so interesting how it has so little to do with the actual books that L. Frank Baum wrote. Have I read even one Wizard of Oz book? I think I read the first one, a long time ago, but isn't the Wicked Witch of the West kind of a minor character that they just kind of deal with and then there's way bigger fish to fry?
Probably the most beloved movie ever made in any language.
Vamos, vengan a pelear.
All the different dubs. Shout out to voiceover artists that do dubbing, because that is a very specific, very necessary thing that people don't really give you guys credit for. Sorry, I had to pause The Wicked Witch, because whoever did the German dub left no crumbs.
Aber hüte dich, kreuze nie meinen Weg, wenn du es wagst.
The movie's sentiments are universal. Its timelessness, that of any great classic.
Angela. I want to say that I miss Angela Lansbury, and I do, but she is one of those people that will live on through the art that she gave the world forever,
When I began to watch it on television with my children and then my grandchildren.
I felt myself choking up a little bit. It's been one of those days, and I adore Angela Lansbury.
This is part of a missing number from The Wizard of Oz. Why it is missing will be explained as we share the reminiscences of many who were part of the fascinating history of Oz.
There's almost always things left on the cutting room floor, but I know this production was so chaotic that they filmed way more than they needed, and, there are whole, numbers like we just saw left on the cutting room floor. And if I was one of the actors, I'd be so mad because of what you went through every single day. Scenes getting cut has to happen, but at some point you have to be like, then why did I go through 4 days of torture for that one thing? Deleted scenes are to be expected, but at some point you have to just feel like it's being tortured for nothing, right?
We finally took some of the makeup off. They took some of the makeup off, and we went to the commissary. And it was such a frightening thing to see for other people, because what we looked like were people from another world, with those weird kind of faces that we had.
I remember hearing about that when I was researching for the podcast episode way back when. I'm still worried about the, toxic chemicals in their paint and how they probably ingested some of it while they were eating.
People question me like you're questioning me now and say it must have been fun making that picture. It was not fun like hell. It was fun. It was a lot of hard work. It was not fun at all.
Spoken like a true veteran of the film industry. Jesus.
And they had so much makeup on. And they were so busy complaining about their makeups. And each one was making bets as to which makeup was the most difficult all the way through the picture.
God bless Judy Garland. She went through so much, not just on this set, but her entire career. It was obviously hard on all of the actors, but I feel like complaining to Judy Garland about how tough of a time shooting The Wizard of Oz was, it's like trying to complain to, the Mystery Inc. gang about corrupt businessmen,
I thought that she was the most adorable creature that was ever put on this earth, and so right for the part of Dorothy. She was just like a little girl from Kansas, with great big eyes. She wasn't pretty, just plump.
No, the gasp that I inhaled into my lungs. Plump? I knew that, things like this had been said about Judy Garland, that she, quote-unquote, wasn't pretty, that she was, quote-unquote, chubby, but to hear it said, I don't even think that was meant as an insult, but it's still insulting,
Well, we don't get any residuals, but we have a better thing than residuals. We have a kind of immortality.
Them not getting residuals is crazy.
You're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Oh, it was made by Jack Haley Jr. That's interesting.
In the summer of 1989, there is an extraordinary outpouring of affection as all across America fans celebrate the 50th birthday of the Wizard of Oz.
Oh my god, that's so cute!
On a drizzly Sunday morning in August, Midtown Manhattan comes to a halt as the most spectacular Oz event of the year takes place.
Ooh, August is crazy to be wearing those outfits.
With nearly 5,000 excited participants tap dancing down 34th Street.
Oh my god, look at that little boy, he's so cute. Shout out to all of the people who participated. If you were there that day, please let me know. I just want to know what it was like.
I have The Wizard of Oz on tape. We taped it, and me and my sister watch it at least every day.
The Wizard of Oz is what I like to refer to as a media heirloom. I don't know. I feel like somebody's probably found a better name for it than this, but I always call things like The Wizard of Oz media heirlooms. They're IPs that have existed and been beloved for so long that they've kind of been passed down from generation to generation. That's the thing with The Wizard of Oz. It's like people watch it and then they want to watch it with their kids and their kids and their kids.
It all began in 1900 when L. Frank Baum published his classic children's book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Nearly 40 years later, the man indirectly responsible for bringing Oz to the screen was none other than Walt Disney.
Ah, yes. It always comes back to Walt Disney, doesn't it?
His Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is not only 1938's biggest hit, it is the most successful movie ever made to that date. This fact does not go unnoticed by other movie moguls.
Well, I always wanted to make The Wizard of Oz since I was a little boy. Mr. Mayer called me in and said, look, why don't you just produce this picture you're so crazy about?
As a filmmaker myself, to have a film that's like you're in the back pocket, like big dream film that you just want to exist, getting to actually make it, I know he didn't get to direct it, must have been a wild feeling.
She has been the biggest star in the world for the past 4 years, and many think Shirley Temple is the natural choice to play the role of Dorothy.
Shirley Temple, another victim of the Hollywood industry. I believe Shirley Temple eventually retired from performing and became like an activist / politician. I'll put it in post, the actual like references to that.
And I sincerely ask the citizens of this district to please give me their help and their vote in November. This will be an uphill effort. I'm starting late. There are 10 men already entered in this congressional race. They have their campaigns well underway. Most of them appear to be quite well financed. I will need the hands and the hearts of thousands of you in this congressional district if I am to be successful.
I don't know, I just found that interesting.
From the age of 2.5, when young Judy Garland began her vaudeville career as part of the Gum Sisters Kiddie Act, she had been billed as the little girl with the great big voice.
2 years old. She didn't have any memories before show business. That's crazy.
By the time she is 15 years old, her name has been changed from Frances Gum to Judy Garland.
I love the way that they used to give all of these starlets like Hollywood glitzy showbiz names, you know? I always wanted an old Hollywood showbiz name. I wonder what it would be. Leave suggestions in the comment what you think would be a great Hollywood starlet name for me.
When Mama spoke about making The Wizard of Oz, I could always tell what respect she had for the movie and how proud she was to have been a part of it.
Liza Minnelli.
Whenever she watched the movie, you could see in her eyes that she loved making that film because she was a kid. She was 16 years old. She had a great time making that movie, and it was a happy time.
The idea of that movie being the highlight of her life is so depressing when you know what happened.
I'm Glinda, the Witch of the North. You are? Oh, I beg your pardon, but I've never heard of a beautiful witch before. Only bad witches are ugly.
Oh yeah, the famous scene where she drags her. She's like, only bad witches are ugly. Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Frank Baum's concept in the original book, as illustrated by W.W. Denslow, isn't much help.
They literally looked at that illustration and said, thanks, we hate it.
Since Disney's glamorous Wicked Queen in Snow White is so successful, why not make the Wicked Witch slinky and seductive?
I like that as a culture we've always been able to agree that the evil queen is hot.
Leroy persuades Sundergaard to test for the role. Decked out in stylish black sequins with a form-fitting wardrobe to match, she is a knockout. Freed and the others are exasperated. Bad witches are ugly. In those days, I was not about to make myself ugly, she says. I have no regrets.
Honestly, good for you, Queen.
He said, they're sort of interested in you for a part in The Wizard of Oz. And I said, oh, gosh, think of that. I said, I loved that story from the time I was 4 years old. What is it? And he said, well, the witch. And I said, the witch? And he said, then he said the final thing. He said, yes, what else?
Queen, the witches are always everybody's favorite. She was beautiful. The fact that anyone ever told her she wasn't is crazy.
Everyone at MGM is impressed by his recent triumph in David Copperfield, but Fields haggles endlessly over his salary and time runs out.
Major L.
One of MGM's most durable character actors, 48-year-old Frank Morgan, finally wins the role, or rather 5 of them.
I don't think I realized that all of those people... I knew that, like, the traveling snake oil salesman guy and the wizard were always the same, but I didn't know about the other ones.
Happy times, boy. Happy times, boy. You brought us luck. You brought us luck.
He was a very raucous, loud, energetic.
Yeah, you can see it. He was born for that role.
He had been a bank clerk, a vacuum cleaner salesman, and an accountant. Not the usual background for an acclaimed Broadway star. Now under contract to MGM, Ray Bolger is thrilled to learn he will be in Oz.
He had the physicality of that scarecrow. Like, he had that floppy, I don't know what a better word for it, is, but floppy, I don't have any bones vibe. It's perfect for the Scarecrow.
Unfortunately, at the last moment, fearing the picture is running too long, the studio decides to cut the number.
I mean, if Gone with the Wind got, what, 3.5 hours? Almost 4 hours? I feel like Wizard of Oz, I'm all for tighter pacing, but if we're really talking about it, Wizard of Oz deserved the longer runtime way more than Gone with the Wind. Overrated movie.
They put aluminum dust all over my makeup, recalls Ebsen, and this aluminum dust got into the air, and pretty soon my lungs were coated with it. One night I took a breath, and nothing happened.
Jesus Christ. The 1930s were insane.
Ebsen considers this as the worst personal and professional disaster he ever endured.
Aww. That had to have been heartbreaking. Buddy Ebsen did eventually, decades later, but he did eventually kind of get his delayed big break by getting to star in Beverly Hillbillies.
Ebsen's replacement is Broadway and movie star Jack Haley, on loan from 20th Century Fox.
It's still crazy to me that back in that day you would have like contracted actors to specific studios and then you could just have a person on loan from a studio.
Haley's makeup has been quietly changed from aluminum powder to aluminum paste.
Oh, well, as long as it's aluminum paste. Now nothing can go wrong.
I said, well, I have a son, 4 or 5 years old, and when I go home at night, he insists that I come up and tell him a story. My thinking is to have that same approach in the character. He said, well, give me an example. Well, a long time ago, I was standing here and it started to rain. That's it. That's it.
Aw, that's such cute inspiration. Also, Jack Haley was adorable. I just went, oh, he looked like a movie star.
Next on The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Tales of Munchkin Mischief by Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli.
Oh, please don't throw those Munchkins under the bus. They didn't do anything. The TLDR of that is that Judy Garland once jokingly said that the actors that played the Munchkins were drunks, and then the media ran with it and kind of sullied the good name of what I believe were, all in all, respectable performers who were very badly treated because they were little people.
In 1856, Lyman Frank Baum is born to a wealthy family in upstate New York. But once on his own, success seems to elude him. He fails as a store manager, reporter, and traveling salesman.
Playing If I Only Had a Brain over the story of the guy whose brain is why we're all here in the first place is diabolical.
The successful author moves to Hollywood, where he writes, produces, and directs several Oz silent films, but typically his company loses money.
Oh God, that is terrifying.
At MGM, the question was how to bring this classic to the screen without destroying its magical qualities. Changes Dorothy's shoes from silver to ruby. He establishes the fantasy characters as hired hands on the Kansas farm, and he inspires Dorothy to realize there's no place like home.
I'm a big believer that at the end of the movie, when she wakes up, that she was actually always in Oz, because that's what happened to her in the book, and like making it just a dream kind of takes away her agency as like a heroine. That's always been my thing. I am firmly of the belief that her time in Oz was valid even in the movie and does have direct consequences on her life.
The only thing in her life that was colorful at that point was, I thought, the rainbow. It was the only thing of color that she had ever seen.
Not Kansas catching strays. He's like, the only pretty thing in Kansas could be a rainbow. Damn.
It sounds inconceivable, but Over the Rainbow is cut from the film after the second preview. It slows down the picture, some executives complain, and they consider it undignified for an MGM star to sing in a barnyard.
Executives shouldn't make any creative decisions. Like, obviously, executive producers, sometimes, like, the whole thing is creative. But you know what I mean, like, suits shouldn't make the creative decisions.
Fleming is a tough-talking, no-nonsense director who goes biking and big game hunting with his buddy, Clark Gable.
That is a nice way to put it. That is a very nice way to put it.
On the Gone with the Wind set, Clark Gable and George Cukor are barely speaking. Gable threatens to quit unless producer David O. Selznick borrows his pal Victor Fleming.
really who you know in this industry.
Another element of Oz falls into place when over 100 little people march into MGM, the first and last time that such a unique gathering would take place.
I remember tearing up doing research for the podcast that covered this because there were testimonials from some of the little people who worked on this film that they were just like so happy to be working alongside other little people because some of them had never met other people like them, and that, I don't know, I just always found that so endearing.
They are billed as the singer midgets, but many are freelancers from vaudeville and circuses all over the world.
Oh, and we don't say that anymore, but that's what they said back then.
We wish to welcome you to Munchkinland. And that's when I handed Judy Garland the lollipop.
Oh.
Prior to this, I'd never seen a little man in person in my life, or a little woman, and I was all excited because I heard there were going to be quite a few little men and women, and
he's precious.
I said, my goodness, here I am in Hollywood for the first time in pictures, and with the biggest studio.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's adorable. The way you can tell he just never forgot it ever. Why am I tearing up? Jesus Christ, I'm crying like Ari and Cynthia.
So he says, okay, you're the coroner. As coroner, I must.
You got a good part. You got the part that my vocal stim remembers every single time I'm singing this song.
Whiskers and beard, and so that we would have the same appearance every day that we were on the set.
I don't know, something about the joy that they have just telling that story. I don't know. There's something about somebody enthusiastically telling you about something important to them, and that's just the vibe I get from that. It's very sweet. I also think part of it is because so many people, as we've already heard, have poor memories of that film being made, and the film is so special as a piece of art to so many people, so hearing that some people do have those good memories is very heartening.
He's known as Leo the Lion's best friend.
Oh my God, that is a lion. That is a real lion. Oh, the 30s were crazy.
Buddy Gillespie must create a dazzling array of special effects, many of them never before attempted. A floating farmhouse and a floating head.
So cool.
Gillespie drops a miniature farmhouse from the top of a soundstage. He shoots it in slow motion and later will reverse the film so the farmhouse appears to be falling into the camera.
I'm a sucker for a practical effect. I use them as much as I can in my own work. For those of you who didn't see my short about it, this is my recreation, complete with genuine crocheted beanie of the viral Starbucks bear. We have named him Bernie Sanders because he is an anti-capitalist bear. I'm sorry, what was this picture? What was this photo shoot? This is such an awkward photo. I've always found that to be true.
From one standpoint of the work was that the hours were long and the time off from work was short. During this period, we had to have our dinner, sleep, and get back up again at 5 o'clock in the morning.
You just didn't have lives.
Judy, of course, being a girl, but she had to have her hair done every morning. She had to have it exactly the same way it was the day before.
Well, that makes me sad, especially for Judy being 16 and not ever, having time to just, be with your friends and be a normal 16-year-old.
I had a rubber mask. And the only unfortunate thing about it was that it sort of closed the pores in my face. And when the lights got real hot and they ate up all the oxygen.
I love how he's trying to be so positive. He's like, yeah, it was great. The only bad thing about it was it tried to kill me sometimes.
Bert Lahr was a nervous type. Bert Lahr, he was always undoing the buttons. He always had gas on his stomach. He couldn't eat anything in his costume.
He was perfect for the role of the cowardly lion. Not that being rightfully uncomfortable is cowardly, but just the nervousness had to have played into his performance. Also, I'm pretty sure that the lion costume is made out of real furs, so that's unfortunate.
Pulls around and stands on this little elevator that went down slowly or went down fast. In this case, it dropped out from under me. It left my feet and I followed it.
Oh, this poor woman. One of the most famous shots, and she got burned doing it. Horror stories.
The legends of Munchkin mischief begin almost immediately. Most stories are greatly exaggerated.
And these Munchkins, they were all over the place. And so many of them, I lost track, I don't know, 100 or something like that.
This just reminds me of how the ADs and second seconds that I've known in my life, in my time working on films. This is like how they will talk down about extras just in general, like they're, you know, not all. Obviously there's plenty of ADs and second seconds and directors who are wonderful and really like lead their entire team, but sometimes you get somebody who's in charge of placing and directing extras and they're really resentful for it and they just talk down to them like they're children all the time. I don't know because I wasn't there, but this feels like the way that happens. It feels like they were kind of being talked down to. It kind of feels like people in charge were just being like, oh, they're so irresponsible, when they were probably just like normal and there were just a lot of them, and so someone didn't want to have to like keep tabs. I don't know. I wasn't there.
90% fabrication. It makes for good copy, I guess.
The way that he's just so at peace with that. He's like, yeah, they lied about us to sell papers. What are you gonna do?
Judy Garland's children, Liza Minnelli and Joey and Lorna Luft, have personal insights into the Munchkin adventures.
So here you're gonna see Judy Garland tell a story, and then her daughter, Liza Minnelli, just being like, she was joking.
They were drunk.
They were a little dry.
And she had a way of telling a story. She could change anything. So anything that she talked about would become an epic joke.
Now, is that a great way to joke? Most certainly not. But, you know, this is her children just clearing the air and being like, that didn't happen. She didn't mean any harm, but, like, don't believe any of that, basically.
Whenever we do that little dance up the yellow brick road.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was supposed to be with him.
I've always wanted to know how to do the little, like, dance skip that they do down the yellow brick road. I used to, like, practice for ages as a kid, just, like, trying to get it right. Judy Garland was such a fascinating person because she wasn't perfect. None of us are. She, like, survived so much in the industry. It's just, like, a part of me wonders if Judy Garland became known for telling those tall tales because she was forced to be an entertainer from such a young age that she was like, oh, this is my job, this is what I have to do, and like the line of like lying what was lies and not just kind of got blurred. It's just, I don't know. That's a whole other deep dive for a whole other day.
Wizard of Oz still has 3 more months of shooting, but the MGM publicity department is wasting no time. An elaborate float makes a grand appearance in the Tournament of Roses parade, and thousands of children get an eye-popping look at their Oz fantasy characters come to life.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that happened. That float is kind of awesome.
She and Mickey Rooney are the newest rage among teenage moviegoers, and their boss, Louis B. Mayer, is well aware of it.
Is that from a movie, or was that her actual birthday? Did Mickey Rooney just kiss her?
Grand Central Station becomes a madhouse. The much-publicized arrival causes a near riot.
Good Lord.
One reporter says, these kids are the biggest news since Lindbergh came home.
That's one of those sentences you can just hear in the old-timey radio voice.
1939, Hollywood produced more classic films than it did in any other year.
It's so funny because none of these films, as much as they were so important to film history, none of them are as iconic as The Wizard of Oz. Stagecoach. We're a community of people that really like obscure things and oftentimes see things that no one's ever heard about. Stagecoach was a pretty big movie at the time. Have you seen Stagecoach from 1939? I know someone out there has. I have not. I just had the most unhinged idea to, like, watch all of these films. Like, a big video where you watch every movie from 1939 that was, like, every blockbuster movie from 1939 because it was, like, the year of classic movies. I don't know if anybody would actually watch that video, but what a thing that would be. That would be interesting. Because I've seen, like, maybe 2 of these films.
Gone with the Wind sets box office records that will stand for decades.
Oh, fuck. Gone with the Wind. I'd have to watch Gone with the Wind. If I ever watch Gone with the Wind, I'm just gonna shit on it the whole time. Hate Gone with the Wind. It's 4 hours long. It's racist ass.
Then, Mickey Rooney makes a welcome announcement.
Members of the Academy, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests,
It's my privilege this year to present that award for the outstanding performance by a juvenile actress during the past year, Miss Judy Garland.
God, Mickey Rooney was so young. Bob Hope was so... This is so wild that we still have this footage.
Oz would appear occasionally through several reissues and kiddie matinees. And then in 1956, along came television. For the first 2 decades, most viewers could only see it in black and white.
Oh my god, yeah, The Wizard of Oz without it going into Technicolor, different experience, not nearly as good.
Someday I'll wish upon a star.
Judy's always been representing for the alto girlies out there, hasn't she? She had a beautiful voice.
I think it's endured because of people's dreams.
Wow, Liza looks so much like her. Judy Garland was my height. She was very tiny.
So let's all say thank you to them. And keep these marvelous talents in mind the next time you and I watch the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Angela Lansbury was a great host for that. She just had a beautiful, temperament and voice that just, calms everyone, I feel like. Even when she's chasing down murderers in a tiny little Maine town. Anyway, that's where I'm gonna leave this here. I found this. I'm sure some of you have seen it, but it felt up my alley as far as obscure piece of media talking about a very nostalgic piece of media, and Wizard of Oz has been on my mind for weeks now nonstop. But as always, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, everything you do to support this channel. It means the world to me. I always say it, but I hope you know it's true. If you're new here and you're a fan of nonsense, maybe consider sticking around. I post nonsense all the time, and if you'd like to enable my nonsense, I do have a members tab. But remember, above all else, my name is Avery. I'm a YouTuber if you say so, because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. Bye!